Whenever you find an article on the internet or wherever that you'd like to fact check or get to the bottom of to see if there's truth to what you're reading, there are several steps that you can go through to fact check it to see whether or not it's corroborated elsewhere. And so we'll walk you through a couple or five of those steps that you can do on your own. So let's say you find this article. Here's one from IFL Science, and you can see several advertisements all around. It also links to other stories here. In this story, or this article, is about maternal grandmother smoking correlated with autism diagnosis. So you can see it's been shared almost 40,000 times. It's got a graphic image here of a baby at the end of a cigarette, and you see more ads. And then there's the body of the article, which you can also see has several links in it. You can tell by the blue words that are underlined. So after you've read the article itself, the first thing you want to do is check your emotions. Does this article make you feel happy or extremely angry or extremely sad or extremely um, glad? Check and see what your emotions are doing, because your emotions, if you're feeling very emotional towards one way or another, it could make you either really want to believe the article or maybe really not believe it at all based on what your emotions are. So that's the first step, is check your emotions. Step two is to check for previous work. Has somebody fact checked this for you already? One of my favorite sites is Snopes. I use it for general fact checking of a whole assortment of items. And so what you can do is you can copy the title here, and in Snopes we'll paste it in. You could use keywords that are similar to that. You don't have to use the exact same. And we can see that it doesn't come up with this exact article or these exact terms, but there are several others that it comes up with related to that. So you could go through and see if there are any that are exactly related to this article. Once you've checked other fact-checking sites to see if anyone has already gone through and seen if this is true or not, you want to do something called going upstream to the source. So in the article, we can scroll down and see that there are several links, like I mentioned, but it also links to the actual scientific report. If you look down at the bottom, you can see it links to a DOI number, which tells us that it's in a journal, and it comes from Scientific Reports. This one's at nature.com. So what you could do then is go, and if you have access to it, it looks like we have access to the whole report here, the whole journal entry here, and you would go through and you would read that, and you would evaluate its credibility. You would look at its sources and evaluate that as you would any sort of scientific research or journal article. Does this come from a peer-reviewed source? Who are its authors? How are they qualified to speak on the topic? And so on and so forth. There are many sources online that help you learn how to evaluate a research article to make sure that it is what you're looking for. So that would be the next step, is that we're going to go upstream to the actual source and see where it came from. We would spend our time reading this. Once you've read that, you want to do something called reading laterally and see, has anyone else written about this same topic? So we can put in our article title here. And now you can see here's our article that we read. It's the first one to come up. And then other top stories. This one is on NHS Choices. And it's from Health News. It's their health news, and we would read through that. You can see several articles within the past few days that are talking about it, mostly from Science or other online magazines or news sites. And we would go through and we would read several of those and see, are they corroborating what we read in that original article? Does it back up what the research article said, what the IFL Science article said? We would look for a consensus. Are there people speaking against it to say, here's why it's wrong? Are they speaking for it? So we want to see, is there a consensus, or if there's not, why is there not? The last thing we would do is, if we can't come to a conclusive answer, we want to circle back to the original article and start our search over again. If we can't find information elsewhere, then that's usually not a good sign, because that means it might be only originated from here, or it was made up, or it's just not, doesn't have truth behind it. So not necessarily that it's not true if we can't find anything else, but it does make it much harder to fact check. After you've done all of these steps, if you, let's say we've read through everything and we found there to be truth to this or not to be truth to it, you take action. You can either share it on Facebook and say, or any other social media, and say, here's why I found this to be true. Or if you see somebody else sharing it, you can say, hey, I've done my research. Let me show you why this is not true. Being a consumer of information who understands the process of finding and evaluating information is a very excellent skill to have, and one that you can share with others by showing them how you've come about that information. So remember, check your emotions, check for previous work, go upstream to the source, read laterally, and then circle back. Thanks.